I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. It went by so fast. It arrived quickly and it left quickly. I hope you guys all had a good time. My family, we had the flu, so that was awesome. It was Monday, the kids were sick, and we're like, let's go to the pediatrician. And they're sitting there, they got 103-degree fevers, and both of them are just sitting there waiting for their turn to get checked in. And I was like, who are you? If you know my children, that's not them. They don't just sit. They run, they sprint. And he's like, your kids are like the healthiest fever-sick kids I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, can you imagine when they're healthy? They are so energetic, and we're better now. I'm so thankful. But if you are looking around, you'll notice that we have some VIP seating in the back. The youth have joined us today because that'll be fun. Yeah, you can give them a round of applause. But something that we do for the youth every week, you guys know this, is we got icebreaker questions, and so we're not skipping that. These are questions I like them to ask each other to get to know each other. And so for today, I have a would you rather I want you to be thinking about. Would you rather sneeze glitter or burp confetti? Two things here. This is how my brain works right there. You get a glimpse into the inside lookings of my brain. But we do this because it's fun to be silly, but it's also nice to have a question to ask each other. And so my thoughts are, what would you guys do? Raise of hands, sneeze glitter. Let me see who would do that. Okay, it's getting everywhere, guys. Okay, and then burp confetti. Raise your hands for burp confetti. Okay. Yeah, the glitter seems fun. Like it would be a show, like achoo, and it would be like glitter. Confetti, I feel like you'd have to be like, happy birthday, or say something afterwards. I don't know. It'd be weird. But the youth ministry, we have a lot of fun. We love having fun. I love having fun. This year, we had a lot of fun decorating ornaments. We decorate stockings, gingerbread. We have a few pictures here. These are the gingerbread houses that we decorated. And so middle school, I think we have some pictures here. There should be. If not, then visualize a middle schooler decorating a gingerbread house. Landon, there you are. Wyatt, let's go to the next one. There's the ladies. You can see the difference in the boys and the ladies decorating gingerbread houses. We got another one here. We got the boys again. They got the train. And then lastly, this one. This was done by our very own Luke Jacob and some of the boys. They had the alien themed come in. But I love this. I love decorating. I love Christmas. If you haven't been in the youth room, we have an 18-foot tree in there that I cut down. I'm not going to tell you where, but I did cut it down, and I brought it into our youth room. But I felt like I was so prepared this year. I had all these events ready. I ordered everything ahead of time. It was in the youth room in a box labeled for each week, which is not usually the case. To give you a little bit of context, I didn't water our Christmas tree once last year. And that's nothing burned down, just to warn you. But it is a concern. It's a warm room. And so that's my brain was working this year. It was ready. Except for when I realized Christmas was around the corner. And I realized I hadn't bought presents yet. I took care of this. I didn't take care of my family, my friends. And so, first thing that you do, Amazon. What happens? I need something in a day or less. The 2-day shipping, that's fine. Let's see if we can get it. Is there any cool gifts? Yeah, let's do this. I started getting nervous. And Amazon is great. I dropped the ball. Amazon covered. But I do get nervous sometimes. I think when we start new things, we get nervous. I think there's this inherent nervousness to start something because I don't think we want to mess it up. It's a beginning. It's something new, and we're going to go, I want to start this new thing, and I want to start off on the right foot. And we get a little nervous doing all these new things. It might be a new school year. It might be starting a new job. It might be starting a new family. It might be starting might be joining a new school in general. That can be very nerve-wracking. And I get this because for me, I've been doing some things that have been making me nervous. 2 years ago, as a man of 2 children, I felt convicted to go back to school. And so I was at CCC for a couple years, and then I transferred to PSU this last fall. And if you know anything about Portland, it's not fun. I love Portland, but driving to Portland regularly and then trying to find parking is that's something I wouldn't wish on my enemy. And so I thought, let's figure this whole thing out. I had a week-long class I was going to take at PSU. I'm driving down there, and I'm so nervous because my 4Runner doesn't fit in small parking spots. And I get to the parking garage, and as I go into the parking garage, I hear a noise. And it's the hanging sign is hitting the roof rack of my 4Runner. And there's people behind me. There's people in front of me. There's people gawking at me. I feel like I'm about to become a meme. I don't know if you've ever seen those trucks that go into bridges, but they don't fit, and they just kind of crunch in. That was me. I was like, I'm going to be the headline of the news. But I couldn't go back, so I said, I'm just going to go forward. I just kept driving. And as you go in, there's more hanging signs. There's I'm driving through hoping I'm not going to rip down anything. And this is the start of my term at PSU. I've ruined it. I've messed up everything. I look like an idiot, like that doesn't know how to drive. I can't park a car, doesn't even fit. And that's how I started off this school year. And it was not fun. And I think as we start off new things, we hope that that doesn't happen. I bet you guys have your own way of bobbling starts. For me, I'm a very visual person, as you guys know. And when I think of bobbling a start, I think of a false start. It's primarily football. Fantasy football is coming to an end. I am in the championship, FYI. And so I forget who I'm playing, but just be praying for that. Please don't pray for that. But a false start is when you do something before you're supposed to. It's essentially what it means. If you're running, when you run before the gun shoots. It's in football, it's when you start doing something before the quarterback hikes the ball. To give you some perspective, I have a video for you. I love videos. And so here's a video of a swimmer in the 2024 Olympics. And again, it should be up there. I did prep some of these slides, so most of this is going to be on me. This is 2024 Olympics. These guys have trained their whole lives for this moment. And that guy messed up. You can see he doesn't want to fall. He's, with all of his might, he's like, please stop me from falling. And you see how frustrated he is. And let me clear up why he's frustrated. Because when you do a false start like that in the Olympics, you are disqualified. There's no coming back. You've trained your whole life to do this big event. Not only that, you are representing your country, and then you get DQ'd. That sucks. That is probably the worst way to bobble a beginning right there. And it is a lot. And so we're going to be going through and we're going to be talking about these false starts today because we have a new year happening. We're going to start something fresh. That's what we're doing is starting a new series. The series is going to be for the youth, and I figured I'd let you guys join in with us. But we're going to be starting fresh. We're going to be beginning a new year in which we want to encourage you guys to start fresh and to live fresh. And I want to show you another way of what this looks like. And so this is where all of my things come into play. And so this is how we start fresh. This is a fresh glass of water. This is kind of how we start when we're born as well. We're clean, we're fresh. The only thing that we do is we poop and pee all the time. And we can't help it. There's nothing we can do about that. But our lives start out pretty fresh. We have this thing. And as we do these demonstrations, I want to show you where my brain is going. And last time I did a demonstration for you, I threw a 1,000-piece puzzle across the stage. And you guys nearly charged me. My wife made a 1,000-piece puzzle. It took her about a year, and then I threw it on the stage. And the rage in the room for just a split second was, I could feel it. So today we're going to tone it back. We're not going to throw anything. We're just going to start fresh. And so this is what fresh looks like. But I want you to imagine your life as this container. You start out fairly clean. There's nothing in it. You haven't done anything. But then things happen. Sin and dirt enters our life. And so we have sin and dirt. Bennett, I told you I'd tell you. Bennett grabbed all this sin and dirt for me. And sin and dirt enter our life. And this is kind of what it looks like. He got the quality dirt. And so we have our lives get messy and dirty, and they kind of get a little murky. Didn't even put that much in. But this is kind of what happens. Sin enters into our life, and it gets gross. It's like, anybody want a sip? No. You're like, it's not happening. And as I continue out, I want to quickly just talk about sin for a second because we have these ideas of sin. Sin is like, don't lie, don't cheat, don't murder. Yes, It's correct. Don't do those things. But sin is also, I think, this is the way I usually put it because I'm a simple individual. Sin is like the absence of God. It's when we do something without God involved. When we go and go, God, I know what your plan is for my life. I know what you want me to do, but I think my plan's better. And our pride kind of gets the best of us. And we go, okay, God, this looks more fun. God's like, that's better for you. But this. And we do our own thing. And we kind of gets a little murky. That's what happens. Sin is kind of anything less than God's best in your life, anything less than God has planned for you. And so sin dirties our life, has a way of making us sin even more. As we sin, we then feel like we need to lie about our sins and not tell anyone. And we go, oh, that's not me. I didn't do that. I didn't break the vase, Mom. It wasn't me. I didn't break that thing. There's a lot of breaking things that happen in my family, lots of older siblings. And I broke lots of things, and I always blame someone else. I didn't want to ever amount up to like that negative feeling that would be owning up. And so sin, it's not complicated. Sin is the absence of God. We like to complicate sin often. And we do these complicated sins, and they kind of enter our lives as well. I got to not break this because this is also my wife's, and I did not get permission to break this. And so we get these bigger things that enter our lives, and now it's gross. And this is our lives. We fill it up with all this stuff. And all of a sudden, we're like, what the heck do we do? And when we think about making this clean, there's a few things that we do. There's this realization, almost like a middle school boy that realizes that he stinks. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've been there. But our solution is better. I don't stink anymore. Fixed it. I want to spray the whole can, but every part of me tells me no. But that's what we try to do. We try to cover it up and go, it smells better. I mean, the sin starts to stink, but as long as I keep covering it up, no one will know that what's inside looks like this. As long as I smell good, it'll look like this. But the problem is the reality of the container hasn't changed. The substance inside has not changed. There's another thing that we can do. We can take it and go, you know what? What sin? I don't know what you're talking about. We can go hide it. You can't see it. Has the reality of that container changed? Has the substance within the has it changed at all? No, it is still dirty and murky, even if we try to hide it. Or, my favorite one, which we do a lot of times, we fake it. We go, don't worry. I'm good. I'm clean. We put a mask on and we cover it up and we go, yeah, the water's fine. And we just have this fakeness to us because this is how we think that we can solve the problems, is by all of these different ways. But the reality is, it's kind of hopeless. If we look at Jeremiah 17, it talks about this. The heart is more deceitful than all else. It is desperately sick. Who can understand it? Who understands the heart? I don't. I don't know why I think and feel the way I do. Isaiah 59 says this, your sin has made separations between you and God. And your sins have hidden his face from you so that he does not hear. This absence of God, when we go, God, I'm choosing a lack of you, I'm choosing space. That's what a lack of God is. He wants to fill up your entire life. When we say, God, I'm choosing a lack of you, you're saying, I'm putting space here. God's like, I don't want that. I want all of you. And we're saying, no, I just need a little bit of me time. And what we're doing is we're making it hard to hear God because we're trying to do things on our own. Sin corrupts our hearts, and it makes it hard to even hear God sometimes. It doesn't mean he's not talking to us. It doesn't mean he's not interacting with us. It doesn't mean that he's changed his mind about us, whatever. It's about us and how we have changed our perspective and how much distance that we have and go, God, no, I got this. So, what do we do? Well, we got to stop being fake. We can't do that. No more fake filters on there. Get off Instagram with your filters. Snapchat, please just do normal. I don't know what any of the students look like when they send me Snapchat pictures. I'm like, you got a dog nose? I don't know who this is. This could be Luke or this could be Gavin. But the solution is we could probably try and get rid of some of the sin in our lives. And we try to do this. We go, okay, well, I'm going to fix this problem. Fixed it. Oh, there's a little bit more in there. Sorry, Gib. I got a big one there. And we go through, and I feel like I've almost made this worse. But I've taken out some of the sin. I've gone in there and I've taken it out, right? But you can't tell. It hasn't changed anything. I've tried my hardest to get the sin out of there. And the container itself is holding all in. I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do to fix this problem. But we love trying. This is the problem. We love trying to fix our own sin. We love reaching into our lives and go, well, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm just not going to look at that anymore. I'm just not going to interact with that person anymore. That doesn't change the heart. That doesn't change the inside. It just gets a little messy. That's all that happens. And so we're going to approach this problem a little bit differently. We're going to look at John 8, and this is going to be the big verse for today. And I love this verse. There's so much that I could talk about this verse. I could do a whole 3-week series. It's a 3-week series. This is what this is. And so we're going to look at how Jesus handles some of these problems. And never mind. My brain, I have bird moments where I want to say something, and I know I shouldn't. John 8 says this. Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Early in the morning, he came again to the temple. All the people came to him, and he sat down and he taught them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in idolatry, placing her in their midst. These guys found this person who was cheating in the act of idolatry, throws her smack dab in the middle of Jesus and goes, we found someone. Take care of her. Like, that's messed up. It then continues. They said, teacher, this woman's been caught in the act of idolatry. Now, the law of Moses says that we should stone her, which is, let's throw a lot of rocks until she dies, which is wild. That's crazy. I don't know who thought of that punishment, but they were probably a small child. That's what kids do. They throw rocks at each other. And then they continued to ask. They said, Jesus bent down and he wrote in the sand. Sorry, let me go back. So this is what they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down with his finger to the ground, started playing in the sand, started drawing. And as they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. He says, okay, throw away. And once more he bent down and proceeded to write in the ground. Okay, cool. I don't know why this is in there, but I love it. It's my favorite because it captures like the essence of like a distractible ADHD person. That is me. But Jesus stood up, and when they heard this, they went away one by one, beginning with the oldest to the youngest. And then Jesus stood up and said to her, woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? She said, no one, Lord. And Jesus said, neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, sin no more. See, this lady was caught in an act that was very messy. It was very dirty. And everyone saw her. She was put on a podium in front of everybody. In front of Jesus, the great judge, juror, and executioner. Like he's the big man in charge. They put her in front of him and said, judge, do your thing, Jesus. And Jesus had been claiming such great measures as grace and forgiveness. He was walking around doing miracles all over the place. And so they were trying to trap him. I love when people get sneaky in the Bible. It's fun because they're like, I can outdo God. And it's like, really? Can you? But their hope was that Jesus, if he said, okay, let's do the law of Moses thing, stone her, kill her, not very forgiving and gracious, is he? He's not what he claims to be. He's a fraud. But had he shown her forgiveness, said, no, don't do anything, then he's going against that law of Moses. And now he's a fraud again. It's a lose-lose. There's no winning for Jesus. So they think. And Jesus, being the smart person he is, says, okay, let's abide by the law. Let's keep to that law. If you don't have any sin in your life, go ahead. You begin. And they're like, and we see with the oldest people, I think this is pretty relatable. The older people probably have sinned more than the younger people. And it's easy for them to acknowledge that they've made sins in their life. They're like, oh, yeah, I've done that. I'm out. Peace out. And the younger people, it probably takes a little bit longer because they're like, nah, I'm perfect. And that was me growing up. I was the golden child. I was perfect. I made no problems whatsoever. I have 2 t-shirts that say so. And it takes us a little bit longer as younger people to admit we've made mistakes. But ultimately, they did have this revelation. Yeah, me too. I also made a mistake. I'm out too. See ya. And they leave. And I love this because in that whole time, Jesus sits down and he just draws in the sand and he gives them a moment to reflect on what he said. And that's what I think is happening here. And again, this is Dylan's thought process through this. I have a lot of thoughts on things. If you talk to me, I will share my thoughts on all things. But I think that Jesus is just giving them some time. He goes, hey, if you have no sin, throw a rock. Go dwell on that thought for a second. And he just kind of goes and lets them ponder that statement for a second. And when they realize that their lives are just as dirty and muddy as that woman's life, they go, I can't throw anything. He's right. I have no claims to be anything but dirty. And so they all leave. And again, this is what's happening here, is their disgusting lives just weren't put on show for Jesus to see. They were probably still hiding it. They were probably still covering up. They had a fake glass of water on the front and had this realization that maybe I need help. And I love what happens with this woman too. Jesus looks at her and says, hey, is there anybody that was here earlier that's condemning you? Anybody. Look around. Everybody that was present earlier, is any single one of them here to condemn you? She goes, no. The thing is, Jesus is also still in that presence. He is still there. He hasn't left. And she goes, every single person that was here earlier, not a single one of them is condemning me, including you, Jesus. Not a single one of them. They left. You are still here, but there is no condemnation from you. I am seeing no hatred, no malice, no judgment of negativity towards me, saying that I am lesser than. You are here saying that I am okay. And I love this. No one has condemned you. She says, no one, Lord. And Jesus says, neither do I condemn you. Almost in that moment, I can feel like her soul is now clean, like it's fresh again. Like the dirty murkiness of this water all of a sudden gets cleaned out, where Jesus is like, let me just pour some freshness into you. Let's set this aside. And let's pour fresh in. Here's the problem. It's a process. It doesn't just happen right away, because again, we like to think about this, oh, it's just gonna be easy. Sometimes we need to rinse things out. You know, all of you have kids, take the plate, just throw it in the sink, or the dishwasher, and it comes out and there's still macaroni on it, because they didn't thoroughly wash and clean. Like, sometimes it's a process to get clean and to go through this whole thing. But he says, go and sin no more. You are clean. Don't do it anymore. Don't mess it up. Don't dirty your lives. Now here's the catch. You're going to struggle with sin after this. I'm not going to tell you when, as soon as you accept Jesus into your life, sin goes away. That's what some people think. They think as soon as I accept Jesus, my problems go away, I'm sin-free. No. Honestly, Satan likes to attack you more when that happens. The cool thing is now you've acknowledged that you have the creator of the universe on your team. And you're like, oh, those are just lies. That doesn't affect me, actually. That's not what I thought it was. Those lies that said I'm lesser than, those lies that said I'm dirty and murky aren't true. And so I have a few points. We're going to go through them quickly. And the first one is to be honest about the dirt of your past. We see that the woman here acknowledges. She doesn't fight this at all. She gets thrown in front of Jesus, and she doesn't go, wait, let me explain. Let me tell you what I did. It wasn't as bad as it seems. She sits there and goes, yeah, that's me. I messed up. I'm actually filled with a lot of shame and regret right now. I have no excuses. She owns up to her sin, and I think we need to do the same thing. We need to look back at our sin, not to beat ourselves up, not to wallow in self-pity, not to say that I suck because of all this. We need to own it. Go, Jesus, this is all the stuff I've struggled with. Here it is. Here it is. Like, here's all of it. So that I can present it to him. So that it's not hiding anymore. Because that's what we like to do, is to hide our sin. But Jesus says, bring it all to me. There's no condemnation, there's no judgment, there's forgiveness, there is love, there is grace. And then the second point is, after doing so, receive the cleansing forgiveness of Jesus in the present. We look to the past, go, this is all the sin, and we go, okay, Jesus, there you go. Oh, here it is. And it sucks. going through and thinking about the sin, but man, when we give it to Jesus, we go, I'm tired of holding on to this, take it. It's yours. And that's what he wants, is us to throw our sins on him and say, I trust you more than I trust me. I don't want to be so attached to my sin that it's controlling and dictating my life and dictating my feelings and dictating my future. Which then leads us to our last point. After done so, we go and then commit our lives to Jesus. After having an encounter with Jesus, there's only one response. We go and share it. We experience it. We live our lives. And I love this because I feel like some of us aren't living our lives. We're living in the past. We're not living for the future. We're living based on the actions that we've made, not the future that Jesus has planned for us. And so, you are a new creation. The old is gone. Your failures are removed from you. We can commit right now to live our future. I want to show you a little bit what this means. And as we do so, the band, you can start joining us on stage. But Jesus knows who you are in him. He knows who you are in him. Do you? Do you know who you are in Jesus? Do you see what Jesus sees? Because this is what we see. And Jesus says, I don't see that. It's clean. I see clean water. And we go, no, it's not. He goes, do you want me to prove it? He goes, yeah. He goes, okay. Watch this. It's fresh. It tastes fine. It's clean. It looks dirty, but Jesus is like, I don't taste dirt. It's clean water. Oh, so refreshing. Like, it's good. And a lot of you are like, that's weird. I don't get this. He's drinking dirt. Jesus is like, this isn't dirt. It's clean. This is my child. You have been forgiven. Stop seeing this and start seeing this. Start seeing what you were called and meant to be as children of God, which is something that's clean, refreshing, life-sustaining, life-giving, that as a Christian, we are to go and live that out, to share that with people and say, God has given me a new life, and it's awesome, it's fresh, it's cool, it's clean. Do you want to join me? You want to experience it too? You want to watch Jesus show you that your life isn't as dirty as you think you are? It's awesome. Watch him. And a lot of you are like, this is gross. You really have to experience it to understand it. You have to experience Jesus to understand it. This makes no sense to people. People go, that's dirty and it's weird and it's gross. You go, it's not. It's amazing. It's life-giving. Oh, you just have to experience it. Come to service. It's awesome. And so each of us is in a place right now. We're in one of those three places where we should be looking at the past. We need to bring it out of hiding. Go behind the curtain, grab all the sin. It's not fun. It's not a fun process. I'm not going to tell you it's amazing. But it is worth it. And we take it, and then we live in the present. Okay, God, some of us we're holding on to it. We're aware of all our sin, but we're not aware of how to release it. Okay, God, fine, here, take it. Or maybe some of you have done that. Are you living like you've experienced fresh life? Do people around you, are they changed because of you, because of your change? Are you living a future focused on Jesus Christ? Or are you going, just take this away from me so I don't have to think about it anymore? No, Jesus has saved you. He's forgiven you. He loves you. And he doesn't see this in you. So you shouldn't either. So let's start this new year off fresh. Let's start this new year off clean. Let's start this new year off focused on Jesus. Jesus, thank you so much for today. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for seeing us for who we are. Thank you for cleaning us. Thank you for forgiving us. Thank you for loving us unconditionally. God, we can only say thank you. God, I pray that we would live a life that is changed, that we wouldn't be afraid to live life focused on you, that we'd be sharing this life with everybody. We'd be sharing change with everybody this new year. So God, wherever we're at today, I pray that we could just figure out which step we're in, and we could just start this process, that we could just start fresh. It's in your name we pray.